The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corporation.
Hello and welcome to Consciously Rising. I'm your host, Jeff Renel, and today we're going to talk about essential oils. There's a lot of different ways to heal the body, and so today we're going to talk about essential oils, a really holistic and healthy way to actually help the body and assist the body in healing. And so today we have Melody Bartone-Helmick.
Correct.
You gave me all the different ways that people pronounce it, so I almost went there.
Exactly.
Melody, she owns Alternative Pathfinders. And Melody, you are a clinical master aromatherapist, also a master in metaphysical science, ministerial ordained.
I'm ordained minister.
Okay. And then also certified as a dream builder coach and also a science of mind practitioner. Mm-hmm. So you got quite a bit under your belt. And you're also an amazing singer as well, too.
Thank you.
So thank you for being here. How did you get started on this path? How did you get...
Well, it first started with my spiritual journey, which brought me to the... metaphysical sciences and the science of mind, and so I just knew that there was something more that I needed to learn and do. So I started my spiritual journey and uncovering blocks and patterns that have affected me. And then what brought me to essential oils was I've always been one that wasn't real happy with allopathic medicines and that, and I have a husband that's kind of staunch in that arena.
So what is allopathic medicine?
Allopathic means prescription drugs.
Oh, okay.
Or over-the-counter drugs, synthetic drugs, let's put it that way. Never liked how it affected my body, and so I finally told my husband, okay, yeah, you're right, I need to start taking better care of myself, and so I'll start looking into natural means. And I went to a little course on essential oils and found I really resonated with the essential oils, that I could pretty well, by smelling them, pick up on properties of what they could do for you. And so I started working a little bit with that, but wanted to learn a lot more, and went through a certification course as a clinical a master aromatherapist,
Awesome.
Which takes you through anatomy and physiology and chemical makeup and botany and all of that stuff, and started working more with the essential oils, and people started liking the knowledge that I had, and so for a while there I was becoming known as the essential oil lady. Yet still I was always called towards my line of positive thinking and how we can, we are beings of unlimited possibility.
Yes.
And so I kind of go into we always say mind, body, spirit, but for me it's spirit, mind, body. If we can get our spiritual self in line, connected to our higher self, and then our thoughts and patterns, our body will start to take care of itself.
Yes, I agree with you 100% on that. Yes, because I work more on the emotional end, and so yeah, for me, you are that essential, the essential oils lady in the way.
Uh-huh.
We've known each other for, I think we're on 5 years or so
closer,
now.
yeah,
Because
at least.
I believe I moved my office into Luminosity around 2012. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
been 5 years or so.
Yep.
And it's been a wonderful 5 years. I miss having my office next door to you because it always smelled wonderful. I mean, always. I loved it.
I still get that today when they walk in my office.
and I did did. I learned so much off of you on essential oils and the difference in there, and that's one reason I wanted to bring you on, so you can share that knowledge with everybody, because I believe you're very knowledgeable in this.
Thank you.
So what exactly is an essential oil then, and how are the essential oils different too?
So an essential oil, a lot of people get mixed up with what an essential oil is, what a carrier oil is, what an infused oil is.
Okay.
And so carriers are basically plants that they can press out the oil from it. And so that's going to be like your avocado, your extra virgin olive oils, most of your vegetable oils are what are called carrier oils or fixed oils.
Okay,
so it's fixed. The oils is just pressed out of the plant, basically.
Okay.
Whereas an infused oil would be where you take a plant material, calendula is a wonderful one to, or people call it calendula. I always say calendula. That's a great oil to infuse in, say, extra virgin olive oil, and you have to let it sit in there for like 6 weeks and let it pull the chemical makeup out of the oils, and then strain off the herbs, and that's an infused oil. Calendula is awesome for healing the skin.
Beautiful.
Then you have essential oil. An essential oil I call the very essence of the plant. They come from basically aromatic, any plants that have a high aroma. And the essential oils are what help defend the plant from any pests and that,
Okay.
and or attract, like the pollinators, like the bees and that. And they are also what kind of keeps the health of the plant. So the only way that you can really get an essential oil, there's a couple of different ways. One is through steam distillation.
Okay.
Some of the plants are too delicate for steam distillation, so they might actually say, rose can be steam distilled, but say jasmine is usually extracted through, an old way was enfleurage, where they would actually put the flower petals on, say, lard or some kind of fat.
Oh, really?
It would draw out the chemicals, and then they'd melt off the fats and get the essential oil that way. There's CO2 extraction now that they extract the oils. That's still fairly new for a lot of aromatherapists. So a lot don't use the CO2 version in their practices. And then there's, say, your citrus are what are called cold pressed or expressed. And the old-fashioned way of getting the essential oils, it's in the rind of the fruit,
Okay.
of the citrus fruit. And like if you take an orange and you peel it, that spray that comes off?
Yeah.
That's actually the essential oil. You're breaking the pockets
Oh, really?
that hold the essential
I'll
oil.
make sure I
And
try to
that's why-
suck that up really quick.
That's why when you peel an orange and you feel so happy and it just
Ah.
lifts your mood,
Yeah.
that's what sweet orange does. And so you're getting the essential oils that way. But they would actually take it and press it between two sponges, and the oil would go into the sponge, and then they'd
Really?
wring out. Nowadays, what they do is they will put them into, the word's going out of my mind. It's a machine where they'll put the oranges or the lemons or whatever in it, and then it has little spikes on these rollers.
Okay.
And it will roll it and spike the rind, and the oils will come out from that, and they're able to extract the oils that way.
That's pretty fascinating. So is there a better method then? I mean, because you just talked about now they're using CO2 to extract it. Is the old-fashioned way better than maybe the new techniques that they're coming up with?
The old enfleurage way of extracting essential oils, the reason they don't use that much is it's quite a process. And so it's not used as well. And I'm forgetting, for some reason, I'm forgetting the way they actually do jasmine right now. But if anybody wants to know, they can always email me and I can get that information for them. But it all depends on the plant itself. And CO2 seems to be an okay extraction. It's still fairly new, so a lot of aromatherapists that are in the clinical realm
they're used to
don't
the
always
old-fashioned way.
Right.
Yeah, that's the way I tend to be too. Until it's broken, why fix it?
Right.
And I think you get a lot of better quality in some of the old
Right.
methods than you do nowadays.
And that makes them a little more expensive too, with some of the old methods. So most of the oils that you see today are steam distilled.
Okay.
And what that means is there's a couple of different ways they do it. Sometimes it's put right into the water and heat is pushed through it at a certain temperature and the steam goes up, and it's like it's like when they distill alcohol.
Okay.
It goes through a condensing tube.
Okay.
So the oil will go up as a vapor in the water, and then they cool it off. And then so oil and water will separate, and it will fall down into a big vat. And because the oil's lighter, it will come up to the top. They'll skim that off of the top, and the bottom water that comes off of it is called, if you have heard of them before, hydrosols. They used to throw that away, but now they use the hydrosols. You can get the hydrosols for another version of getting the properties of essential oils, because minuscule droplets will be in that water.
Awesome. So and then there's definitely, and that's one thing I've learned from you, is not all essential oils are equal as far as the brands go and stuff. Is that correct?
Well, unfortunately, in the United States, essential oils are not regulated. Therefore, we see a lot of adulteration of essential oils out on the market, and what that means is they've taken either synthetics and added to it, or they've taken an inferior oil and added to it. Say lavender could be one that maybe they'll add, because lavender spike, which is still a good essential oil in a way, but it has a higher camphor level. It's grown at a lower altitude than true lavender, and so the camphor rate's higher. And so lavender spike will have a calming effect, but it also will have an energizing effect. But it has linalool in it, which is what you want to get that calming. And because they can make more oil out of the spike than they can true lavender, they might add a little lavender spike in there.
So then it's not doing what you're expecting it to do.
Exactly. I wouldn't use lavender spike on a burn.
So how
level.
But a lavender you can use on a burn?
Yes.
As long as it's not the spike.
As long as it's not the spike. Actually, lavender, that's where aromatherapy all came about, was from learning about burns, the term aromatherapy. There was a French perfumist, Renel Maurice Gastaffe, that he, back in the 1900s, he was looking for things to help during the French Revolution, to help the soldiers, because they couldn't get a lot of medications and stuff out there. So as a chemist and perfumist, then he started studying essential oils. And one day in his lab, there was an explosion, and it burned his arm or hand. There's different stories on if it was his hand or his arm. Some really elaborated, but it's not really written down exactly what burned. But he put lavender oil on the burn, and at that time gangrene was really prevalent. And he found that not only did he not get gangrene after he started applying lavender oil, that the skin started to heal without scarring.
Amazing.
And so that took him further into studying the essential oils for medicinal purposes. And he finally wrote a book called Aromatherapy. And that's where the the word aromatherapy came from.
Well, I definitely want to get into some of the uses for aromatherapy, but really quick, how would our audience out there protect themselves then on going and trying to make sure that they're getting good quality essential oils then, if there's people that are using different type of fillers and stuff inside of there?
Without knowing the chemical structure, the way I do it is I look for companies that I can see. They call them either CNA testing. It's actually a test called the gas chromatography mass spectrometry. And by testing the oils, there's kind of a standard of what chemicals should be in that plant and at what percentage. And so I look for oils that fit into, that I can see the testing and that fit into that category. And there's no real exact test. Some people have said that you can take, say, parchment paper and put a few drops of your oil on it and wait for it to evaporate, because essential oils should evaporate completely.
Okay.
Some take a little longer than others. Say lemon, if you leave the bottle off of your lemon, it's going to be gone really fast.
I have noticed stuff like that. Leave it out in my car in the heat, and then it's gone. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, they are highly volatile, and so what that means is they evaporate very quickly. So whereas a fixed oil will not evaporate.
And so is that why I want to keep it in cooler temperatures as well too?
Yeah, they like the cold. They like cool temperatures. You always want to keep them. 70 would be the max I would ever have them, but below 60 really. And I actually refrigerate my essential oils. It can extend their life. Only if you do put them in the fridge, make sure you have a sealed container or have a separate fridge for them, because they evaporate and they will saturate into your food. I put my lunch in that fridge and I can taste the oils afterwards. So you do have to be careful of that. But they don't evaporate as quickly. They don't oxidize as quickly, and that when they are refrigerated.
Awesome.
So. Yeah.
All right, well, let's just take a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back and talk about some essential oils and the different qualities that they have and benefits for health and all the other stuff.
All right.
Sounds good. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Consciously Rising. I'm here with Melody from Alternative Pathfinders,
Yes.
And we're talking essential oils today. So you told us a little bit about what essential oils are and everything like that. Well, we're getting into the colder weather right now. I'm having a hard time speaking. I don't know why, but we're getting into the colder weather. And what are some of the essential oils that might be beneficial for this time of the year that help keep us healthy, or even if we are catching a cold or the flu, what are the best things for us?
Well, this time of year, now through February, they call it cold and flu season. And what a lot of people think that, well, people don't know, or they don't actually know what causes cold and flu, or why they happen more in the winter time. I actually am doing a class now that I called Cold and Flu, weathering colds and flus, and with the herbs and essential oils. And what in my studies for the class, they finally came up with an idea that what happens is the weather gets drier. Thus, we talked a little bit during the break about dry skin.
Yes.
Our skin dries out and I talked about how getting a really good lotion that is not, that's all natural shea butters and coconut butters and that. That doesn't have fragrance in it, and then you can add some essential oils. Carrot seed is really good for the skin, frankincense, and we laughed about myrrh.
Yeah.
And the reason those frankincense and myrrh, any of your resins, because they come from the resin of the tree, are good for skin condition just because they are the wound healers of the tree. In other words, where the resin comes from is they actually cut into the bark of the tree, and the sap will come out to heal the wound of the tree. Therefore, it also helps our skin. And you do find that a lot with your plants and how they work with our anatomy too. But during the winter with essential oils, as cold and flu season comes, we want to keep our respiratory system clear. And what they found is because the weather gets so dry that when we cough or sneeze, the germs can stay airborne longer.
Oh, okay.
In the dry weather that doesn't have the moisture to pull it down to the ground. So therefore it spreads and hangs on to things more. And that is how we're getting the germs and that. And so it has nothing to do really with the cold and that. It's the dryness of the air.
That makes sense.
And so what we want to do is we want to keep our respiratory nice and clean. So you can do that with a lot of your conifer oils, your spruce, your pine, your firs are good ones. Of course, eucalyptus for adults. Children under 10, you don't want to use eucalyptus, and you really don't even want to use peppermint with children under 10.
Really?
The reason is it has a high cineal, a chemical called 1,8 cineal. It has high counts of that, especially eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is anywhere from 40% and above of this cineal. Cineal in children under 10 can affect the central nervous system. They call it CNS. And so it can either depress or excite the system. And a lot of times it will cause respiratory problems.
Wow.
And so
long term or just for
the time that they're exposed to it. So you don't put those oils near the face of a child under 10. So if you want one for child, stay with the spruce, the fir, the spearmint is better than peppermint for children. Because it doesn't have the cineal. It has carval instead, which gives it the same type of effect.
I'll have to remember that because those are two of my favorite oils, especially peppermint, and I wouldn't have thought peppermint. I remember you told me about eucalyptus.
Right.
But yeah, I did not know about peppermint, and that is one of my favorites.
Peppermint usually isn't as bad, but it's just best to go with spearmint over peppermint for children under 10. especially when they're breathing it in. If it's in a diffuser and it's going in the air, it's not quite so bad, but if they're using a nasal inhaler or anything
or
put around topical or chest and that, you want to keep it on the feet or away from the nasal passages where they'll breathe.
But it would be okay on the feet as well, though?
Right. And always, I always with children and adults alike, I always tell you, make sure you use a carrier. Don't just put them on straight.
Okay, that's a good thing too. So I just really want to get through the peppermint because I use it a lot, and I like to use it for muscle aches. Me personally, I've used it. I had migraines really bad, and I think with working on theta healing in my emotional aspect, but also lavender and peppermint were part of my saviors.
Right.
Because before I would have to take some type of prescription, well, not really prescription because I'd go buy it from the store and stuff, but I get Tylenol or whatever, extra strength for my migraines. But most of the time I couldn't take anything because by the time it hit my stomach, then I got violently sick for 15 hours or whatever, so there was no chance I could take any type of pain medication or anything like that for my migraines. But when I was introduced to essential
Peppermint
oils
and
and
lavender for the temples.
Yeah, well, I started just putting it on the back of my neck where I mainly got the pain. And what was really great about it is, yes, the smell of it really did something else too, because I put it on and it got into the muscles and it started to relax the muscles and everything, and then that nice icy cool feeling from the peppermint was wonderful, and it changed a lot of different aspects in my thinking, because when I would first get the migraines before essential oils, I'm going, oh my God, here we go again. I'm going down for another 15, 16 hours, whatever it's going to be, in just the worst pain.
Right.
And so that was my way of thinking. And I know that thought stressed me out even more and probably made the migraine come in faster and harder. And so I didn't like that. That was the worst feeling, knowing that they were coming on. But when I started doing the essential oils, it all changed, because I put it on there, and then that icy cool feeling, it just made me go into euphoria. It just reversed that whole feeling. So then instead of me going tensing up and going, oh my God, here we go, I was just like, oh, this feels so good, and I could relax, and I allowed my shoulders to relax, and all that tension started to go away, and eventually I just wasn't getting the migraines as strong, and eventually they just started going away altogether. I think it was with the emotional work, but a lot has to do, I think, with the essential oils on me just being able to relieve myself before it got any worse. And then the smells as well too. That opened up to my breathing and stuff, and I think that helped as well too with my migraine. And
well, a lot of people don't understand, because you talked about the feel of the icy hot kind of feel that just kind of soothes, which is true. And then you talk about the fragrance. But what a lot of people don't understand about essential oils is that is their true power, is through our sense of smell. And that is because the chemical makeup of the oils will, essential oils, because they're so volatile and they're so, the molecules are so small, they are one oil that can pass the blood-brain barrier. And so they go right into the limbic system of our brain, which is where we carry our seat of emotions and our memories. And so they are also our hormone producers. That's where we produce our hormones. And so when you were smelling an essential oil, it goes in there and it tells the brain, like with lavender, I call lavender the nurturing mother of essential oils, because she just seems to be able to come in there and just wrap you in her embrace and let you know that everything is going to be okay, and just nurture you and make you feel calm. And she releases those hormones into the body that calms you down. Whereas peppermint, again, it has some calming effect, yet it gives some energy to it. And so this is how they're able to shut off those signals for the headache, is by giving us a different sensation that lets us know everything's going to be okay. And that's through memory and that. Now, when I talk about memory, there are people who tell me I don't like lavender at all, and there's a few different reasons. Number one, it's not chemically right for your body. We are all unique individuals.
Yes. Therefore,
what works for me may not work for you, and vice versa. And that's why I do custom profiles. So lavender, it might be that, but it might be that you had an overbearing mother when you were a child that liked lavender. And so that memory, that feeling of that time will come up whenever you smell lavender. If somebody was given lavender during a traumatic experience, or there was lavender around them, every time they smell lavender, that traumatic experience will come up. It will trigger that, the feelings. And so that's the way essential oils work. So then we work around that.
So really quick, since we're on that, then what about for depression then? Is there an oil because of the smell that is good for people that might be depressed a little bit or just a little sad or under the weather?
There's quite a few oils that will actually help with depression, and lavender is one. Bergamot is one. Your sweet orange. I like using sweet orange, especially during the winter time. It's when we're used to smelling oranges and that. I call it the little ray of sunshine.
Okay.
And it brings joy and it just uplifts. It's like that ray of sunshine in your life. I've made a pure joy blend that sweet orange is one of the main ingredients. And I made it into a spray for one girl, and she took it home. She says, I need this because my mother-in-law's coming for the holidays, and we always argue. So she said she sprayed it during the holidays, and when her husband came downstairs, and he goes, what is that smell? And she says, why? What do you think? And he says, I don't know. It just makes me happy. And then she said that whole weekend while the mother-in-law was there, they didn't argue.
That's
and
awesome.
It's just because it just really uplifts the spirits and brings us out of that depression. So yes, there's, again, I do an emotions class that we talk about depression and different things like that and how you can use essential oils to lift the spirits and bring us back more into balance.
Yeah, I've done a class that was several years back that was where we did a past life regression, but with using essential oils and smelling a lot of different ones. There got to be a lot of different oils, but it was really, really amazing. And I felt like I went back and I had a really good vision from it. I was really impressed by the whole routine of it, right. And I still look back on that memory. But yeah, it was really amazing using all the different oils to create that memory like you're talking about. Right.
And so that's more when I work with clients to change patterns and paradigms and in the dream building and that we might use essential oils to help remove blocks or get through blocks that we have and to bring up and release old memories and stuff like that. So
yeah, that's awesome. So let's get into some other oils then. So for depression then, and you talked about those. So what's another good thing that some might be a normal one for somebody to have in their medicine cabinet for usage?
Some of my favorite oils to have in the medicine cabinet is, of course, lavender, because she's like I said, she's the nurturing mother. She's the universal oil. If she's added to any blend, she kind of adds a little extra boost to the blend. Then I personally like orange over lemon and that, but lemon can be really good for again, its antiviral properties.
So let's get in that, the antiviral. So lemon's really good for that.
Lemon is antiviral, thyme antiviral. There's quite a few essential oils that are antiviral. And during the cold and flu flu season, you can put a little bit of thyme in, maybe your inhaler and that, to add that extra antiviral. Lavender is actually antiviral. So, there's quite a few oils that have antiviral properties, and synergies of the oils. During the plague, the plants that were used were, say, rosemary, thyme, the cinnamon and clove, those kind of things were wrapped around. They would make bundles of it to wrap around to get the aromatics off of the plants. They didn't have the essential oils in those days, but, just from the plants, it would help ward off the evil spirits. And
well, there's the one oil out there that with the fancy name.
Thieves is Young Living. I have one called Self Shield.
Well, I was going to hit Thieves just because of the story of how it got its name and everything, going back to the plague and using it to be able to, as you said, to protect themselves as they went into other people's homes that had the plague.
Right.
Very unique. I think we better do a really quick commercial break again, and we will be right back. Thank you for listening. Welcome back to Consciously Rising. We're here with Melody from Alternative Pathfinders, and we are talking essential oils. And I want to ask a couple quick questions. One, I'm always fascinating. Herbs, I know, are really good for us as well too. But there's a big difference between essential oils and herbs as far as the potency. Is that correct?
Right.
And I'll let you explain it because you're the expert on there. But there is a big difference on the potency.
Yeah, essential oils are basically the most concentrated of the herbal remedies. If you look at how essential oils are processed, take lavender. And for lavender, I believe it's, let me look at my book real quick because I always forget the stat. It takes 63 pounds of lavender flowers. So think of a lavender.
63 pounds.
63 pounds to make 13 ounces of essential oil.
Wow.
People ask me why rose is so expensive. And it takes 30 to 50 roses to make one drop of essential oil.
30 to 50 roses to make one drop.
One drop.
Wow.
And so you can see the concentration of the essential oil, and that's why I always tell you to dilute too. Dilute. Don't put it on straight because you're getting such a heavy concentration.
Yeah.
And so when you're putting a drop of essential oil, you could be getting anywhere from 20 to 30 cups of tea in that one drop.
Wow.
So they're very concentrated. So by diluting them, our body can process them better, and we're helping with sustainability of the plant.
Yeah, and then
money.
also you can spread it throughout the body better because you're talking about mixing it with the carrier or oils, which you talked about earlier,
right.
Which is the plant-based. What did you say?
Vegetable oils, plant-based oils. Are what they call fixed carriers. I do a class on carriers, so you can learn about the different ones and what they do for your skin, how they add to the mix. But always diluting your oils in a carrier, and you should actually between 1% and 5% essential oil to the carrier.
Well, that's good to know. Yeah.
So, and if anybody wants a little chart of what that means, how many drops, then they're welcome to contact me, and I can give that out.
Okay.
A little chart on this many drops in 1 ounce, and basically 1% is only about 6 to 8 drops of essential oil to an ounce of carrier oil.
Wow.
So, and that it's going to do the trick.
Yeah.
Because they're so potent. And then you've got your teas, which is going to be one of the lower areas of the herbals. You've got your infusions, which you infuse it for a lot longer period, going to take it up another level. Poultices, there's quite a bit in the herbal remedies. For the cold and flu season, making elderberry syrup is wonderful, and elderberries are great. They clog up, or they actually put a barrier in the cells, so the flu virus can't replicate.
Really,
so,
elderberry?
Elderberry.
Okay.
And elderberry syrup usually you can buy it. I have a recipe that you can make it on your own, and I add a little ginger, thyme, and cloves to it. And it makes a really tasty syrup, and even kids love it, and you can actually eat it every day and boost up the system. Garlic onion oil is my very favorite during the winter season, and that you take maybe half a garlic and 5 or 6 cloves of garlic and half an onion, chop them up really thin, cover them in extra virgin olive oil, let them sit for a minimum 2 hours, maybe overnight, strain off the herbs, and then rub that oil on the bottom of your feet whenever you feel the sniffles or the flu coming on. And I swear to you, put socks on your feet, and it kicks it like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, no, I've done that one. You gave me that recipe before, and it worked great. I did it with my kids, my little girls, and they loved it. I just got to tell you, for me, it kind of made me hungry for pizza because of that onion
I get
smell.
That comment a lot.
Yeah, so.
And the nice thing is when you strain the herbs off, you can use it in your cooking.
Oh yeah, I guess you could. I could have.
So you've got olive oil and your garlic and onions, and just set it aside or freeze it, and then put it in so you're not wasting any of the plant, but and you just refrigerate the oil, and it will keep for quite a while.
Yeah, and the nice thing too is you make a little bit, and that actually goes a long way. So you could probably just kind of divvy it out to some of the family members as well too, and allow them to use it.
Yes.
Because I had so much, I ended up throwing most of it away because I had it for almost a year, and I didn't think after that
about a year,
it was cheap enough.
6 months or so, and
yeah, it's cheap enough to be able to make more, and that's the great thing. And you do classes on different ways to make recipes and stuff, but essential oils is buying really good quality, like the rose and stuff like that, good quality, is going to end up being expensive. But as we just talked now, there's a reason, because it's more potent than what you're going to get in the herbs.
Right.
Now I forget exactly where I was going with that, but I forget where I was going now. But that's the nice quality of the essential oil, though, is it's gonna hit you. It's gonna be the right. as I was going to ask you earlier, food kind of for the body in a way, because that's what I like about herbs and essential oils and everything, and I'm a big fan of the essential oils because of how potent it is. But I also look at it as the body knows how to identify that as a food that it can get the nutrients out of, more than a vitamin, or not a vitamin, but more of a prescription pill or something in that.
We look at it that when God created Earth, if you want to go that way, and that everything's provided to help us, and the plants are one thing, and one thing I say about using herbals and plants for our medicine, food is medicine, and that our plants will take us through the healing process. They know how to prepare our body to be healed, have the chemical that will suck what we need to knock out of us, and then it heals the body. So it takes us through a process. Unfortunately, when chemicals are taken out of the plant and made into a synthetic or whatever, in my opinion, we're just hitting the problem, but we're not allowing the body to get ready for that healing process, so it throws us into even a more of a crisis, and it doesn't take us through the other side of the healing process. It doesn't give us that full rounded healing ability, and so we end up taking something else to heal that, and then something else to heal that. So
yeah, and to me that's where I find the problem at. I mean, I'm all for, if you need to take the prescription drugs and stuff,
there are times you have to.
Yeah, and I do it at times as well too. But I see it, a lot of times I think it confuses the body from doing its natural thing.
Right.
I mean, our body's temperature is supposed to rise when we get the flu.
Correct.
Because it's killing off the bacteria on the body. So actually,
we don't want to keep the germs in by doing decongestant or that holds it in the body. We want to express it
and we don't want to take something to all of us. I mean, we definitely want to watch our temperature and make sure it doesn't get high. That's very important. But if we take something to lower our temperature, now we allow those bacteria to start to build and grow again. And now we might have the flu for a week longer than what we were just about to have, because I was feeling bad. So I went and took the prescription instead of allowing the body to just kick it out.
Right.
But again, that's why I like the herbs and the essential oils, because I feel this way I'm doing exactly what you said. I'm taking the same thing that might be in that prescription, but I'm taking other nutritions with it too that are allowing the body to heal. The body knows how to identify with this as food or nutrients, and knows what to do with this, not like with what's in the fillers.
Right. So anyone who is on medications and that, we want to know that when we're doing a profile, so that we can adjust the oils to go along with the medications, and we'll slowly start to wean you off, because we never want to stop medications that we're taking, and because then we can throw our body into a higher crisis. So we want to start working with the oils just to wean us off and get us back into balance.
So you
and that doesn't include just herbs and oils. That includes the whole emotional package.
Yeah, you need it all. You need it all, and that's the thing. Help assist the body in all ways to heal. You do an aromatherapy profile.
Aroma
the profile.
Right.
And so what is the profile about?
So what a profile is I will collect some information from you. Again, that will include medications we're taking and conditions that we have, and then some kind of emotional things. And then while I am a clinical aromatherapist, I also use intuition. I believe that we can talk to the plants and that, and so intuitively I ask the plants which oils want to work with this person. And it's amazing how it comes together that they hit all of the areas that this person needs. And so then I create a profile of these are the oils that want to work with you and help you get back into balance. And so I give a list of that, and then from there we can go into making, whether it's a nasal inhaler, roll-on, something for a diffuser, whatever. I'm not a proponent for ingestion. I don't teach ingestion. There's too much into it. and you really need to know your oils and how to use them correctly and how many drops and that, because we live in a world of, if a little bit works, let's use a little bit more. And it's like, with oils, less is more. So it's like homeopathics. You know, they break them down and they break them down and they break them down and they break them down, and they still give us that benefit. That's the same with the essential oils. Breaking them down gives us the benefits.
Yeah.
If we do it the other way, we can also run into problems.
So you do a lot of other services in your practice. Do you want to hit on a few of those? We only have a couple more minutes left.
Yeah.
And I want you to get out all your information too, so how people can get a hold of you, and we'll also put it on the video as well.
Okay. I do weekly meditations. I do a biomat. I have the amethyst stone biomat, and so I do what I call thermotherapy sessions and aroma energy sessions, which includes the biomat and me doing some essential oils, usually around the forehead, and a lot of times I'll take somebody into a meditation during that session. I also do dream building coaching, or just life choice coaching. I call it life journey, to go with the alternative pathfinders. My tagline is, are you on the path you've chosen or one chosen for you? And most people are on a path that was chosen for them, or they think they have to be on. And so how do we get back onto our path? So those are a few of the different things. You can look me up. It's alternativepathfinders.com. And you can read a little bit more on there about me and what I do. It also has a list of the classes. I'm just getting January in, so by tomorrow I should have all of the January classes listed. Then I'm on the corner of Spencer and Flamingo, and that's 4045 Spencer Street, B as in boy, 26D as in dog. And what that means is I'm on B level. So you take the elevator down to B level, and I'm in suite 26D. And that's Las Vegas 89119.
Awesome.
You can also always contact me through the website, or you can contact me at Melody at alternativepathfinders.com.
And are they able to order any oils online or anything like
yes,
that?
Yes, I have a link that says shop.
Okay.
And right now I do have some of the oils that I have chosen that I've looked at the testing and everything to make sure they're pure oils. I am running a really big special of up to 60% off on the essential oils. They are limited to stock on hand. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep my line. I might be suggesting another line that I really like, that has the testing right on their website, and concentrate more on training people on how to use the oils correctly. A lot of people have their favorite brands, and but I want you to learn how to really use them properly. And in each of my classes, you get a manual that talks about what we were talking about, safety things, dilution levels, that chart that I was talking about, how to dilute. And in class, we actually make something. It might be a nasal inhaler, an ounce of a roll-on, or something. We make something in the class to take home with you.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yours are my favorite oil. I like them because you do look, I mean, when I saw you looking at the specs and all of that, I knew, I mean, and they're just as good as all the high brand stuff, because I did the Young Living and the doTERRA and stuff. And to me, I don't see a difference in your oil to them. They do the same when it comes down to it. They've been healing my body just the same. And I get a lot better price on your oil than theirs.
Yeah.
So I definitely hope you keep your brand going for sure, because she definitely takes the time to do her research to get the right oils, and they are high quality and amazing.
Right.
Really good, really good. And I want to thank you for coming on the show. It was kind of last minute for you, I know that. So thank you for coming. I really appreciate it, and thank you you for sharing all your knowledge with everybody out there.
No problem.
And yeah, we'll get all the links on the bottom, and hopefully we'll have you on really soon.
Great.
All
Sounds
right.
good.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Everybody take care, and we'll see you next week.